More and more GOP lawmakers on Capitol Hill say taxpayers should not be forced to subsidize wealthy, radicalized private colleges and universities, especially Ivy League universities like Harvard, that have billions of dollars in endowments. The president of Accuracy in Media, Adam Gillette, has been on the forefront of this debate, spending the past 2 decades talking to college students all across the country and confronting violent radicals. And Adam joins us right now to discuss. Good morning to you, Adam. Good to see you.
Good morning.
You know,
you've
had this front row seat visiting all of these college campuses, and specifically you say the past 2 years have been very eye-opening for you because of the dangerous anti-American, anti-Semitic harassment you've witnessed, that you've personally seen yourself because you've personally been attacked and affected. Tell us more about some of your personal experiences in this.
Yes. So I've visited college campuses for decades, training campus activists and helping people learn how to organize for political advancement. But in the last 2 years, Accuracy in Media has been very active on these campuses because of the violent anti-Semitic, anti-American activism that's happening on, gosh darn, every campus we see. And what shocked me when we first went out there the very first time, well, our mobile billboard was attacked, I was spray painted, my cameraman was attacked. We realized pretty quickly that we, post October 7th, were dealing with an incredibly different environment on these campuses.
Yeah, you know, these are once higher institutions for learning and research, but you say they've really turned into activist organizations right now with woke ideology and as you mentioned, some extreme violent radicals. How do you think this transformed in just really the past couple of years?
Well, it's really two things, especially since 2020. We've seen these universities hire more and more and more administrators. In fact, in the last 10 years, administrative staff has grown faster than faculty by a 20 times rate. And all of these administrative positions, well, they're activist positions. These are your DEI positions. Essentially, these universities are political activist organizations that run a med school on the side. And then the other thing that we've seen from DEI is it's really kind of supercharged anti-Semitism and anti-Americanism. It tells people that America is an evil oppressor state. England, Israel, these are evil oppressor states. And if you use violence against an oppressor, whether it's on October 7th or on a battlefield, well, that's merely resistance to oppression. So they've kind of joined together with the Islamist radicals and with kind of the Marxist radicals into a DEI-focused violent movement.
And when you talk about this administrative bloat, specifically at Harvard, give us some stats very quickly. Like how many per student would you see when it comes to an administrator?
You know, it varies based on the campus, but at some of them, you see one administrator per student practically. It's actually getting that wild on some of these campuses. And again, these administrative positions are DEI staffers, LGBTQ staffers. Sometimes they call them more innocuous things like advancement staffers or equity or diversity staffers, just giving it that title, or belonging. Well, you've got to wonder, what are these positions? And then when you look into it and go to these campuses and go to their offices, these are political organizers. These are people who are paid to take kids who spent 13 years hearing DEI garbage in K through 12 education and now put them into work as a political activist on this college campus. These are the people oftentimes leading the protests we see on campus.
Is it possible there would ever be any true reform at some of these schools? I mean, what's the solution here?
Well, the Ivies are gone. They truly are gone. It's wonderful to see Harvard pay $500 million. They get over $1 billion annually from the federal government. They have an $80 billion endowment, so a little fine from the feds means little to them. The best hope we can have for the Ivies is that they suffer reputational damage. For the state schools, in addition to having DEI bans with teeth, with reporting mechanisms, with penalties, we also just need to start at the top, wipe out the leadership, and refocus these schools on education rather than indoctrination. These administrative positions need to be wiped out, which will save on tuition, and by doing that, you can hopefully restore at least the state schools to a focus on academics.
And when you think about a school like Harvard that's got tens of billions of dollars in endowments and costs, I don't know, more than $100,000 a year to attend, does Harvard really need taxpayer dollars?
Exactly. Why are we funding radicalized institutions with an endowment larger than some gross domestic product of many countries? And institutions like Columbia, where the anti-Semites are so radical that I was receiving literally personally death threats from Columbia-affiliated activists, nearly every day for over a year. I was assaulted at Columbia as well. I was swatted 13 times after we got active at Columbia. Swatting, where someone called my law enforcement agency, claimed I had a gun to the head of my wife in the hopes that a SWAT team would storm into my home and accidentally shoot me. I dealt with that for 13 times after visiting Columbia regularly starting the fall of 2023. These are the kinds of dangerous radicals we're dealing with.
Wow. All right, President of Accuracy in Media, Adam Gillette, we appreciate your insight and you coming on. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.